You did hit on something, which is the importance of stories. And, let's go back to leadership, entrepreneurship, startups. Can a startup be successful if they don't have a good leader that can tell that story?
The classic issue in the startup, in my opinion, and I've done, as I think, either founder or co-founder for maybe eight or nine. I've always had a partner. So what I'm saying in the storytelling, you asked about story and leadership, and I think my speech is, you need a partner. Someone is the promoter and somebody is the technologist. And somebody is going to shape the vision and the market, and the other person's going to measure the data. And so, without answering your question directly, the thing I would say is that I'm a big fan of partners. I don't think you can start something alone. I think you can't have more than 3. That's the rule. And 2 is pretty good. And the other rule is this: it can't be equal. So when you start, my son, by the way, is in a partnership, and they're going to buy a business. I saw him on Sunday. They're going to buy a business. I said, "How are you planning to own this?" He said, a third, a third, a third. I said, that's wrong. He said, yes, I know it's wrong, but we've agreed that it will evolve. Yeah. That when we figure out the exact roles, we'll renegotiate. Yeah, I'm not sure. So there's a famous Harvard study that's been done, and it essentially says you can split the pie any way you want. It just can't be equal. Equal is wrong.
Why is it wrong? First of all, I love this, and I don't want to lose the question of, what it takes to tell a good story, what are the components, but let's go here for a second. So partnerships are difficult. I mean, more partnerships fail. More marriages fail, right? If we can't get it right with people we're sleeping with, how the hell are we going to get it right with people that we have to work with, right? And in some cases, those worlds cross. You start sleeping with the people that you work with, and that's a whole nother problem, right? But why is it not a good partnership to be equally split in money? And I'll also preface this, my only partnership that I went into was with 2 other parties, and we did it that way, a third, a third, a third. And it didn't work, even though they were defined roles. But walk me through that.
Oh, wait a minute. You just told a story that it didn't work. So without asking you to be too revealing, what I'll tell you is, there's deep study on why it doesn't work. Okay. So let's go back for a minute and pretend. Let's go back to the marriage. It is a marriage, but it's not exactly a partnership. Now I got to think about this. I have to think about this. There are defined.
So why is it bad for your son to be in this exact equal split?
Because he will do most of the work, and they need him more than he needs them. He says to me, but they're more experienced, they're bringing a little bit more money. I said, okay. The conflicts occur when we're in this together, and when we're going up the mountain, and my pack is 40 pounds and yours is 20. All right, for a while. And it goes a little further, and then there's resentment. There's resentment. I want to renegotiate. I don't want to renegotiate. I like this. Is resentment. Partnerships, statistically, you're correct. They're very hard. The interesting word is partner. Now, the word, I'm sort of thinking about this. The word partner is like fraught with power and meaning, and we're in this together, and we're partners, versus we're going to start a business. We own it 62-48, and I'm the CEO and you're the something. But whatever it is, I'm running it, you're not. We're doing it together, but we're not partners. The word partner is a fascinating word because it implies equal, and then the dark sentence is, it also implies that you're going to think the way I think. That we're coming to a decision, and it's obvious to me we should turn right. And my partner says, no, we should turn left. No, wait, you're telling me it's so obvious to turn right. And that's the sort of trick in the word.
Yeah, it creates a false, call it expectation. My father said this to me a time ago. I used to run a tech business and had a couple guys that wanted to buy in and be partners. I said to the guy, why do you want to be partner? And he's like, well, partner, I could do what I want. You know, I could contribute to the business. I can build the business. I could play golf on Fridays or Wednesdays if I feel like it. I was like, what? It's like, you do realize that if you take this on, you take on all the down as much as you take on the up. And at the time, my father said to me, never get into a partnership, right? Do a profit share, do revenue split, run open book management, do anything you can to make sure that you split that pie or share the pie if the intention is to contribute and to give back to people's efforts and to reward and help them. And as you grow, they grow. Awesome. But partnerships will always bring conflict. And it's kind of what you're saying here.
Yeah, I think I'm of two minds. I think you should always have somebody else as your partner when you start something, but I don't want a partnership. Right. It's interesting. The word partnership is actually in America a corporate concept, which is an LLC. So a limited liability company has partners. It has members who are partners, whereas corporations have ownership and officers. So, but it's a nuanced area. It's part of trying to build things together. Right. When you think about huge successful companies, by and large, it is driven by a single person.
Yeah. So hold on. So, go there for a second. Say that again. Yes. So you just said, so if you look at the majority of successful companies, right? We've just been talking about partnerships.
Let's pick an easy one. Let's pick Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft. So there was Bill Gates and Paul Allen. Ballmer came later. Bill Gates and Paul Allen. But Bill Gates ran it. Paul Allen was the brains. He wrote the code. And however they split the money, Allen, of course, made billions as well. But that company was run by Bill Gates. His partner, his partner who helped build that corporation was Paul Allen. And Ballmer, who's probably the most important in Microsoft, he was like employee number 18. So that word partner is really, that's the sentence, let's go do this together. The assumption in the word partner, I didn't think we'd get on this. I had some other things to talk about, but the assumption is that we will share a common vision. And we do for a while, and then we come to that point in the road where you're voting for Trump? Are you? I mean, don't. It's not possible. No. You can't. You're voting for Trump. No, I can't. I can't work with you. I mean, I have to tell you, I have some children. Well, I have some awareness of relationships in which the husband is a hardcore right wing, slightly right of Genghis Khan, and the wife is, kind of more of a Bernie Sanders. And
sounds like my house.
I don't know how it works.
Here's some thoughts to that. So number one, there's that famous old saying that, opposites attract. Now, why do opposites attract? Because as human beings, and I actually learned this from my ex-partner that didn't work out. So, R&D it. But it says, when we're born a complete circle. And as we grow up, we are broken in half. We're broken in half because we decide which way we're going to go in our personality. I'm kind of butchering the concept, but it basically says that we get to a stage in our formative years that we now pick a path. Am I going to be this way or am I going to be this way? Am I going to be like parent one? Am I going to be like parent two? I'm going to be a little, and we go with our individuality. And now we grow up, and later on in life, as we're running around these half circles, because as human beings, we're half circles, we meet someone else. Now the other half of that circle. Now that other half of the circle is a little different, smells a little different, looks a little different, walks a little different, acts a little different, but it fulfills, it brings the other half that I've been missing. And at first it's romantic and it's why you stare at each other. You're still married, right? Yeah, I remember those early days, right? Maybe you're all back into romantic love again, but
even at this age, we have a romance once every 3 or 4 years. It's good. We're very happy.
So on that note, but it's the exact thing that you're attracted to, that you're feeling fulfilled with, that creates the conflict. So back to the partnership, right? So partnership.
So hold on. So one of the examples I give in this how to start a business is exactly what you said, which is if my skills are marketing and this, but I need a technologist, or I'm a scientist and I've got, genomic whatever, but I need somebody that can tell the story. So that's pretty great. That's how it gets done. That is how you fill the gaps. You don't hire 3 guys that all play shortstop. You need a pitcher and a first baseman. I mean, but then the question is, what is the skill set? And that's, I guess, where you and I have similarities, which is coaching, which is at some point you begin to kind of, he's annoying the shit out of me. And that goes back to the very beginning, which is understanding neurotic impulses, understanding negotiation, understanding accommodation, understanding listening to the other person, all that other stuff is what keeps partnerships
together
and successful.
No, I was going to say on that note, it's the issue is rarely the other person. It's usually self.
Well, that's the famous Seinfeld joke where George says, "It's not you, it's me," and she says, "No, that's my line. It's not me. It's not you, it's me. It's the not you, it's me line." But I spend a lot of time studying what I'll call behavioral economics. I'm a big fan of Dan Kahneman and Ariely and all of the people who write about this stuff, Freakonomics. We undermine, we sort of sometimes are our own worst enemy. Kahneman wrote a book recently, Thinking Fast and Slow. And he gets to the very end of this book. I've suggested it a few times. And the last 5 pages or 4 pages are essentially say this. They say, look, I'm Dan Kahneman. I won the Nobel Prize in economics in 2002. I am the admitted guru. I teach. I am the expert at rational man behavior. And then the last couple of paragraphs, he says, in my own personal life, I get it wrong 20% of the time. I mean, if the best in the business, he still gets it wrong. So it is hard to make rational decisions. It's just hard.
Because we're built on emotion. We feel before we think, it doesn't matter how robotic and intelligent and analytical and cerebral as you are as a human being, you will always in some cases be driven by that emotion. This is where it all goes wrong. This is why we fight over politics, left versus right, red versus blue. This is why I say Apple computers are better than, IBM's. And we begin back to the story.
I'm really good at seeing it in someone else.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a business psychoanalyst. Okay, I'm really good at, I can listen and I can point out, you're going to tell me the story and I'm going to point out X. The trick is seeing it in yourself. So one of the roles of coaching is, do what I say, not what I do. But when you act in your own behavior, it's much more difficult than without any emotion. I can understand, well, Greg, here's what you told me. And so what you need to do is turn left. And you'll acknowledge it. You'll even thank me. You'll say, you're right, I should have turned left. But in my own life, the GPS doesn't work. I go in a circle. I turn the car off. I get confused. I made my point.
You did. Anyway, I want to come back to storytelling. What do we need to do to tell good stories? I mean, if you were to coach someone on their narrative, on their story, back to the thing you were telling us before, which is this individual is a horrible storyteller. Great technology, horrible storyteller, right? He's in front of the board and the board is falling asleep. The board's going, oh gosh, I've seen so many pie charts in my day. I got to listen to this asshole right now. So what does he need to do to win the hearts and the minds of these people when it comes down to storytelling?
A story has an arc. And so I'll give you a sort of finished, I don't know how long you want to talk, but I'll tell you one more story, and this is why we're still happily married. So this is the how do you tell a good story? So I meet a woman in October of 1993. Her name is Barbara Bree. And in 7 days, I think she's going to be the mayor of San Diego. But we fall in love, and she's a big shot at what's called Connect. Connect is an incubator in San Diego run by UCSD, University of California, San Diego. And it is a early stage incubator for tech and biotech companies. And she's the number 2 person. And in December they have an event called the Most Innovative Products event, where they companies audition and then they pick winners. And she's the keynote. She's going to give the opening speech. So she comes to me and says, "Can you write me some stuff? I need something to start with." Remember, I spent 10 years writing sitcoms and TV shows and Hollywood and crap. So I write 3 really good fake innovative products. Okay. And I give it to her and she says, "This is great." And she practices to read it. And she's terrible. Huh? I mean, you don't know when to pause. So you need, first of all, she is Jewish, but she doesn't talk yet quite like the Catskills. So I work with her. And finally, there's a pause. You wait for the laugh. I mean, I know when the laugh is coming, Barbara. Just wait for it, okay? All right. Comes the day. She stands up. There's 550 people in this room. Just like when I was a writer in Hollywood, I'm not invited. I sit in the back and I walk back and forth and I worry because that's what writers do. And she's really good. She had practiced and she nails it. And the audience applauds and they laugh and she owns them. The thing ends. Couple, 3 hours, whatever. It ends and she comes down off the stage and the newspaper come up to her. I get to come up and give her a hug. And the newspaper guy is standing there. And he says, "That opening was fantastic. Did you write that?" She doesn't take a single pause. She says, "Yes."
Good for her.
How could you not marry? How could you not marry that?
That's
woman?
amazing. And she's about to be the mayor of San Diego. So
She had no problem taking credit, and he thought her delivery. After you work with her, and so she's much better now. She's really good at it. So that's the teaching.
She might have you to thank for her political success because
I don't think so. But you made a good session out of this one on storytelling. It's really
important.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if you're a kid, so it makes me think of this. Remember when you were a kid and you sat in the library and the teacher read a story
in a circle.
Stories really move people.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Greg Witz. Thanks so much for coming and checking out the video. If you like that video, you're going to love the next one. So I'd highly suggest that you click this video over here. And don't forget to subscribe and share.